And now, the nations of the world, brought to you by Yakko Warner.
Earth. You may know it as that blue thing Bruce Willis is always trying to save. Or from its famous collaboration with wind and fire. Or just simply as that place where George Clooney lives.
United States.
America. Land of the free, home of the brave, inventor of Chinese food.
Canada.
Canada. What you get if America and Britain had a baby they abandoned in the snow. Canada. The country you think about so little, that's it, end of sentence. Canada. It's basically 5 hockey rinks surrounded by bears. Canada, the country with a thriving economy based on making jean jackets for geese and of course, their booming Sexy Ryan manufacturing industry.
Mexico.
Mexico. Or as you may know it, Spicy Canada, the only place you can get a truly authentic volcano quesarito.
Panama.
Panama, a country you think about so little, you don't realise that's not Panama, that's the outline of a Scotty dog. This is Panama.
Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Life isn't just a fairy tale land of alpacas and pan flutes, Peru. At some point, you've got to pull your weight. And don't give me the whole, oh, but John, our population is the size of Texas and the war on terror is a hopeless geopolitical paradox. That's bullshit, Peru!
Republic Dominican, Cuba.
Cuba, Florida's teardrop tattoo. Cuba, or as JFK used to pronounce it, Booty Island.
Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, to Puerto Rico.
Right now, Puerto Rico is like the last Tower Records. Everything's overpriced, everyone's being laid off, and there's still a weirdly large number of Ricky Martin CDs.
Colombia, Venezuela.
Venezuela, a.k.a. North-South America. Venezuela, a country you think about so little, you didn't even realise that's not Venezuela. This is Venezuela. Actually, that's not Venezuela either. This is Venezuela. Except it isn't, because Venezuela was the first one all along. But the fact you didn't notice is the point.
Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala.
Guatemala, a country you think about so little, we're just going to leave up a map of Central America and make you look up which one it is. Crack a book. I'm not here to spoon-feed you what's Guatemala.
Bolivia.
Bolivia, a country you think about so little, you haven't even realised that's not Bolivia. This is Bolivia. Actually, that's still not Bolivia. This is Bolivia. Or is it? Or is it? This game is never not going to be fun.
And then Argentina.
Argentina, Argentine tradition, every bit as grand as the tango and hiding Nazis. But both of which they are flamboyantly good at.
And Ecuador.
President Correa. Nice smug smile you've got. You look like a used Jeremy Piven salesman. You look like every real housewife's third husband.
Chile, Brazil.
Brazil, the country with the second most valuable Amazon on Earth. To Brazil, where even the Amazon rainforest looks like it's gotten a wax.
Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay.
Uruguay, a country that you think about so little that you didn't even notice that that's not Uruguay, this is Uruguay.
Suriname, and French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam.
Guam, the Pacific territory that unequivocally sounds the most like a Batman punch. Europe. You know, that thing Belgium is in.
Norway.
Norway, the left testicle in the frigid sea penis of Scandinavia. Oh, for fuck's sake, Norway, how can you pull out? The only reason we have Winter Olympics is so you freakish snow people can pick up your stupid cross-country skiing medals.
And Sweden.
Oh no, what happened there? Did someone blow up Sweden's most famous landmark? And if they did, what was it?
And Iceland.
Iceland. Seems in Iceland, the line of succession goes Prime Minister, the guy in charge of the fish, the Secretary of licorice-flavoured schnapps, a litany of elves that live in assorted boulders, and finally, anybody in a wool sweater who's feeling political.
And Finland.
Finland is on all the good lists, like countries with the best pastries, or best countries to host your overseas lesbian wedding.
Then Germany.
Germany. Who dares have the hubris to assume they deserve great wealth for mere excellence in trivia? So, beautiful language. And Wolfgang Boschbach! Just like honey off the tongue. Germany. A country whose idea of a bedtime story is 2 children being left to die in the forest before being nearly cooked and eaten and then murdering an old woman. Sleep well.
Now One Piece. Switzerland.
Switzerland, where the national dance is collapsing from altitude sickness.
Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy.
We all know the three most famous stereotypes of Italian culture are that they have close family relationships, they turn international negotiations into shouting matches, and they enjoy cooking pasta for dogs. You know, Italians.
Turkey.
Turkey. A country, a bird, and the meanest thing you could call someone in 1956. Turkey. The country named after the fourth best sandwich and the third best burger. Turkey, the country that's always much bigger than you think it is.
And Greece.
Greece, a country of and in ruins. Greece, the most recent Greek tragedy.
Poland, Romania, Scotland.
Scotland. Americans know it as the birthplace of Shrek and that accent you think you can do but actually can't.
Albania, Ireland.
Ireland. A country with a slightly higher Irish population than the Dropkick Murphys. Europe's Boston, home of more red hair than Deborah Messing's shower drain.
And Russia.
Russia, a country that will continue to be funny until it suddenly isn't. The prequel and sequel to the Soviet Union. The future home of 45 million Ukrainians. Earth's Death Star.
Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, the Mecca of Meccas.
Hungary.
Hungary. Yes, Hungary. The fantasy home for every little girl who's young enough to love castles, but not quite old enough to be aware of neo-fascist political parties.
Cyprus, Iraq, and Iran.
Iran, the greatest threat to Salman Rushdie since Padma Lakshmi's divorce attorney. America's relationship with Iran. It's the Star Wars of international relationships. Good in the 70s, terrible for a long time, and now hopefully on the brink of a revival.
There's Syria.
Syria, to be honest, it's barely been reported on, but let's assume it's still fucking awful. Syria. Until 2011, a pretty nice name for a baby girl.
Yeah, Lebanon, Israel.
Drama-wise, the opposite of Canada.
Jordan, both Yemen.
Yemen. Home to 26 million Yemeni people and 27 million American drones.
It's Kuwait and Bahrain. The Netherlands, Luxembourg.
Luxembourg. Did you know that if you Google interesting Luxembourg facts, the result is just a page that says no.
Belgium.
Belgium, though Belgium does have one thing in common with Budweiser. Historically speaking, Germans refuse to acknowledge that it's even there.
And then Portugal, France.
France, the Frenchest thing imaginable. A croissant sitting in a cafe eating a baguette. Or maybe a mime feeding invisible cheese to his invisible mistress with a visible erection. The United Kingdom. Birthplace of the Beatles, and yet very much the world's Ringo. A place whose very name after this week's events is beginning to sound a bit sarcastic. United Kingdom, where I am fondly known as who? The UK, Earth's least magic kingdom. The UK, the only two letters that promise more iciness and bad food than these two. United Kingdom, Europe's America. United Kingdom, the slightly damp corpse of the British Empire. Denmark, also known as wrong Norway, different Sweden, and that's actually not Finland.
And Spain.
Spain, returning from a semester abroad in Spain and insisting on calling it Barcelona. You are the worst. The worst. India. And honestly, the last time a British person said that, we didn't leave for about 200 years. India, or as we once called it, Britain's spice rack.
Pakistan.
Pakistan, well, probably drone strikes.
Burma, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, it's just the tip of international conflicts. We jumped in too fast, went in further than we originally intended, and now we're pulling out way more slowly than we said we would.
Thailand.
It seems my Thailand vacation is going to have to be postponed very much indefinitely.
Nepal and Bhutan, Cambodia, Malaysia, then Bangladesh, Asia, and China.
China. Manufacturers of everything except that piece of crap clay jar you got for Mother's Day. A 3.7 million square mile panda fuck pad.
Korea.
North Korea. Earth's Florida. North Korea. Named Best Korea for 70 years running by North Korea magazine.
Japan.
Japan. A nation so vibrant, not even Sofia Coppola and the band Air could make it boring. Japan. Earth's pervert uncle.
Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet.
Tibet is the Willem Dafoe's dick of planet Earth. It is surprisingly large.
Indonesia, the Philippine Islands.
Philippines. The world's Rorschach test. I see an upside-down feather and my father's disappointment.
Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea. That's as unlikely a pairing as Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon.
Sumatra, New Zealand.
New Zealand. We are not Australia. New Zealand. Now, you may know it as the homeland of Lord, or that place where people who are happier than you go on vacation. Now, New Zealand, the country whose major form of transportation is bungee jumping. New Zealand this week. Hobbit, Australia. New Zealand, Australia's chia pet. New Zealand, Australia's Australia.
Then Borneo and Vietnam, Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda.
Calling Uganda's laws harsh doesn't really do them justice. That's like calling Stalin a bit of a grump, or the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire a whoopsie-doo.
Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti.
Djibouti is a country with a rich cultural history and a multi-ethnic population of over 850,000 people, but you are right, it does also sound like a butt.
Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. Burundi, Lesotho, and Malawi, Togo, the Spanish Sahara is gone. Nigeria.
Nigeria, the country whose prince is going to be sending you some of that money he owes any day now.
Chad and Liberia, Egypt.
Egypt, or as ISIS calls it, next.
Benin and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya and Mali, Sierra Leone and Algeria, Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Myanmar, and Cayman, Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, it's a limited democracy inside a communist country. A setup that their own constitution describes as one country, two systems. It's like the two girls, one cup of governance, with one girl having a lot more control over what happens to that cup.
Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia, Crete, Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Fiji, Australia.
Australia. Not just the country where Russell Crowe lives, but very much the Russell Crowe of countries.
Sudan.
He's right. British comedian is an oxymoron, much like jumbo shrimp or Ecuadorian president who prioritises his time wisely.